of The Man Behind the Beard. I'm your host, Nick Breezy. And sorry for the little delay in taping and recording and getting this info or my message out to you guys, but life be life, man. My bad. My apologies. But this week, I'm talking about accountability. So during my growth, during this whole season of new growth and new experiences and things like that, like I had a moment to really reflect, or I had this time to really reflect on like my accountability and like what that means to me, right? So accountability as a whole is like you taking ownership of stuff. But I feel like though when you get held to when it's about accountability, usually it's someone holding you accountable for something that you did, right? Like you did something wrong, and so now because you're not taking that responsibility on yourself of saying like, hey, I did it. You know what I mean? Like now someone else has to say, excuse me, like, hey, no, you did that, you corrected, you got to do whatever it is to make it right. And I think for a lot of us, a lot of guys mainly, you know what I mean, and really for myself, like I never really held myself accountable. I never gave myself that responsibility, that ownership of telling myself, being able to look in the mirror and say what I did wrong, right? So, kind of give you a little backstory on your boy. So, I think I really feel like where I learned like not having accountability when it comes to like the romantic aspect of things, because everything else in my life, I'll take ownership for, I'll take responsibility for, like that's not an issue. But when it really came down to it, it was really about like the relationship or the romantics of my life. You know what I mean? And I think I learned a lot of that from, let's just say, sperm donor. let's just say sperm donor. I learned it from him, and and just for the most part, like he was never really around. Like I know the man, I know what he looks like, and all that stuff, whatever. But the things that he used to do to my mom, or how I'm not gonna say what he used to do, how their relationship was. I saw a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And so because of that, I think I subliminally learned how to not take accountability of like the wrongdoings I was doing. And I guess I could really say like even in some of my relationships when it comes to like my siblings sometimes, like growing up, I didn't really witness a lot of accountability when it came down to people admitting their wrongs, or me witnessing people not admitting their wrongs, and all of that just kind of just like hamster wheel just kept turning for me as far as like this is okay and how to conduct yourself when it comes to having a boyfriend, having a girlfriend, and things like that. And I just didn't know how to really be accountable for that. Like I remember my mom's telling me all the time that speak up. When you did something wrong, like nothing will happen to you if you just tell the truth or whatever. And that's fine and dandy. You know what I mean? Like that's fine and dandy for for you to be like, hey, it's me, and for you to hear like nothing's gonna happen to you when I tell you the truth. Well, nothing's gonna happen to me if I tell you the truth. But for the most part, a lot of us just don't believe that. Like it doesn't feel right. So like to lie and to not be accountable for your actions feels better. It feels right. You know what I mean? So I can remember as far as going back to high school, because I mean back in the day, your boy didn't look like this. I may not look like much, you know what I mean, but your boy didn't look like this. I mean, it was this all maturation process. You know what I'm saying? So, so I can remember back being in high school. I had a girlfriend back then. I'll leave my name out of it. It's not even important at this point. But I can remember, doing, cheating ways or having cheating ways with her, and she would find out about it. Like I remember one time, I don't know how. I think she had the code to my locker, and back then it's like 2004, 2003 maybe. I had like a little Samsung flip up joint. You know what I'm saying? The little boop. You know what I mean? Like that's how we got down back in the day. You know what I'm saying? With the flip up. So she had my phone, or she went in my locker to get something, and I think she left school before me. And when I went to my locker for after school, my phone was missing. So I'm like, the only person that been in there was her. So I go to her house like after school, like, hey, you got my phone, da da da, blah blah. And she was like, yeah, I got it. Or no, she said she threw it away. And the reason why she threw it away because it was like other shit in there. You know what I mean? Like me texting another girl, me having conversations pretty much with other girls. And back then with texting, it was, you know, you had to hit the numbers X amount of times. You know what I mean? So I was a texting fool back then. You know what I mean? So but back then it felt good to lie. Like, no, like it ain't even like that. Like it ain't what you saw. Blah blah. And that shit just continued to transpire over the years. You know what I mean? And it wasn't the greatest feeling. Like retrospectively thinking about it now, like, it wasn't the greatest feeling to even know now, like the shit I was doing back then, or even the shit that a lot of us still do now, like to own up to like our wrongdoings, and it feels weird to do it, and maybe not necessarily now for me to take accountability and own up to what I did wrong to X person and this person and that person. It's not, it doesn't feel wrong to do that now, because the worst they're gonna do is what? Tell you how they feel about what you told them. Okay. And your job, or at least my job at that point, is to accept that I did wrong, accept the fact of what they're saying to me, and move accordingly. You gotta move accordingly. You gotta be able to go to that person, tell them whatever it is you need to tell them, hold yourself accountable, truly own what you did, show remorse, be sorry, apologize, if it really did hurt their feelings or anything like that, and allow them to be in that moment. Allow them to feel what they need to feel at that time, because you as the person, or me as that person in those times, I can't tell you how to feel. And that's something that I never really understood until later on in life, as I became more and more of an adult. And I didn't know, I always wanted to have control over the situation. And that's another topic for another day as far as control goes. But I always wanted to have control and manipulate the situation to where I needed to fit my narrative. And that wasn't being accountable. That wasn't owning up to what I did to that person as wrongdoing to them. And it's hard. Like that shit was hard to do. And I just didn't have the proper teaching, the proper learning system to really exercise those things. And it's kind of saddening that it took this long for me to really recognize that, you know what I mean, and to want to grow and show effort and to apologize seriously to these multitude of people. And it's not even necessarily about like me apologizing to those people. It's really just about me apologizing to myself and me giving myself that grace to like let it go, because those people don't let it go. They done moved on, and they done they do what they do, and that's completely fine. I just didn't have the proper teaching, and I think that's where a lot of men, a lot of boys fail at. Like we fail as men to teach the young bulls, to teach our sons, to even teach our daughters. Like I don't have any daughters, but to teach our daughters, like, hey, and like most importantly, I feel like to hold our friends accountable. And that's one part that we don't do a lot. We don't hold our friends accountable. These people that we consider like our confidants and our dogs, our boys, our girls, whoever, our sisters, we don't hold them accountable when they've done something fucked up and wrong. And that's not real true friendship with me. Like when my boys Glenn and Isaac and David and, my boy Keelan and my guy Phil and Troy. Well, I got two friends named Troy. So shout out to my boy Troy, Troy Denson and my boy Troy Howard. Shout out to y'all. But so those, I have like two separate groups of friends, which is crazy to me. But all my dogs, I do my best to hold them accountable and to make sure, like, hey man, like, you fucking up. Like, maybe you shouldn't do that. You think that's the right choice you need to be doing. And allow them to make their own decisions at that point. Allow them to have their own mind made up and let it just be what it be. But at least I feel like I did my part and making sure, like, hey man, I see where this could go wrong, so I'm just here to let you know what I mean? Like, it might not work out for you, bucko. And whatever their choice is their choice. But at that point, they're grown adults. I can't make them do anything they don't want to do. And that's on them and not on me. But at least, like I said, I did my part. And just going back to the whole kids part, we have to do a better job as parents, as adults, just making sure the young bulls, making sure our offspring learn to really hold themselves accountable, and that's just not putting them in like sports or outside activities where they learn to hey, it was me, I'm the one that fouled them or whatever. It's not just that. It's about starting at home and allowing them to know, like, nah, man, if you messed up, like, just tell me and we Gucci. But you have to own that. You got to own that shit, man. And that's that type of mindset starts very, very early. Cause like I said, as a kid, for me, I didn't understand that. I didn't know what it was. I didn't like. Did I in did I play basketball as a youngin? I did. Was I in sports? I was. You know what I mean? But again, if I'm not learning at home and not just in sports, what does that really mean to me? You know what I mean? Like we learn a lot of essential things being at home and not outside with friends or being part of sport teams or academic teams or anything like that. Like we learn a lot of essential things from the house, from the crib. And if we don't get taught that, how do we know? How do we know? And I think a lot of society, in a sense, tells us like, oh, you should automatically just know. Like you should just know to be accountable. But you don't. You don't. You don't know how to do certain things without being taught, without being learned. Like it's something that I say to folks, like, I'm gonna learn you something. I tell my kids, like, I'm gonna learn you something. So we don't be out here learning folks nothing. We don't. We don't be out here. We don't learn folks enough to help them just be a decent human being. And I think that's what this really is all about, is just being like a decent human being. And being okay with your fuck ups. Being okay with your wrongdoings. Living with them. And being able to look yourself in the mirror day in and day out and be like, I did that shit. I did it. It wasn't right. It was very, very wrong. There's no justifying behind it. Or no justification behind it. But it was wrong. So now how do I correct that wrong? Because we get to a point, I feel like, saying I'm sorry and apologizing, it's for them. It's for that person, right? It's for them for us thinking like I'm saying this for them to feel better so that we can just move past it and keep it pushing. But nah, G, we can't just do that no more. You got to be accountable. You got to own what you did wrong and live with it. Give yourself that grace. There's a couple, I'm not going to give out their name yet, but there's a couple that has helped me with accountability, and like by no means on the outside looking in, because I don't need to know their ins and outs of their relationship, but on the outside looking in, it's perfect. You know what I mean? Like house, kids, a business, um, like everything looks perfect. But behind the scenes, if you really, really know these individuals, there was some turmoil in their relationship at one point in time. And my friend did something I don't feel like I was ever able to do when he first told me the story about something that happened in their relationship. And like when he told me, I was like, damn, like, you told her that, bro? You told her? Like you felt that bad that you told her? And he's like, yeah, like I had to, like I felt guilty. And it reminded me of something that I did some years ago. So many of you know, some of you know that I got three boys, Tanner, Grayson, Miles, and my oldest son Tanner. He'll be 10 in a couple weeks. But none of you really don't know like the story of Tanner, right? So very much chasing the story, but at one point back then I was married to a woman. Me and her had been together for about, at that point we had been together for like 7 years and married for 3. Right, for 3? We married for 2 at that point. We were married for 2 at that point. We got married in 2011, so this is 2013. Yeah, so married for 2 at this point. So Tanner's mom isn't my ex-wife mom. He's not. So I told her like, hey, matter of fact, even before I told her, I had just came home from deployment. Just got home from deployment. And she was like at the pier waiting on your boy. Like she was happy as fuck. Like I remember she like it was yesterday. Happy as fuck to see me. We drive home, we get to the crib, and back then, like we didn't have Nathan. We had Nathan. And but like I went on like I think I went on like on an 8-month deployment, and like I said, when I left, we had nothing. We didn't have a couch. The TV wasn't mounted. I think we slept on an air mattress. Barely had any dishes, and like we had nothing, like literally nothing. So I come back from this 8-month deployment, and I got literally everything in the house now. Like it's dishes, couch, and chairs, and a bed, and the bathroom is set up, and like it's everything. Like it went from a house to a home, literally. And so I'm having like really me knowing that this Tanner's mom is pregnant. I'm like, I hadn't told her yet. Because I didn't know how to tell this woman, like, hey, I got somebody pregnant on you. And yeah, so now what do we do? Like, I didn't know how to tell her that. Like, I went through months of trying to come up with different scenarios and ways of, like, how to tell her. Because I knew this woman was going to slice my throat when I told her. I knew she would. So I get home, like, on December 16th or something like that, like a day after my birthday. And I can't sleep worth nothing. I can't sleep. Like I'm tossing and turning in bed, and I know I have to tell her like what's going on. Now, mind you, while I'm doing all this tossing and turning, and she's like, I think she's going to work at this point too, or she's working, and I'm texting Tanner's mom. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, hey, how you doing? What you doing? What you up to? Stuff like that. And I think my ex-wife came home and somehow she saw the text message or something. I don't really remember. I guess that's a episode for a different day. But she saw something that made me real. She saw something or said something that made me realize that she knew something was going on, but she didn't know like what it was exactly. So fast forward, I'm panicking. I'm like, fuck. Like this is like 3 days now. So I'm like, I gotta tell her something. So I leave to go to Applebee's, have me a couple drinks to kind of calm my nerves. I come back home and I have me a Black and Mild. I come back, I go back upstairs. I'm like, hey, we gotta talk. I sit down, turn the TV off, boom. Turn the TV off, or at least I put it on mute, I think. And I'm like, I got something to tell you. And I already don't know how to tell you. But I got somebody pregnant, possibly. And the fucked up part, I said possibly, I think. Like, possibly, bro? Are you dumb? Like, are you dumb? And I couldn't just come right and tell her, like, yeah, I got somebody pregnant. And I'm sorry. And blah, 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 blah. Like, I didn't do any of that. Like, I was literally, like, beating around the bush. Beating around the fucking bush about it. And that was probably like one of the most hardest things I've ever probably had to go through, at least at that point, in that stage of my life. Like, that was one of the hardest things to tell her that I got somebody that's pregnant. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, for the longest of times, I could not listen to the confession song by Usher. And that's my jam. That's my jam. But I couldn't listen to Confessions because it was so remnant. It remnant of like what I went through, and I couldn't listen to it. Like every time it came on, turned. Every time I heard somewhere else, I walked the other way. I couldn't do it, and I couldn't listen to that song because literally that entire song was about damn near it was about me. Like I couldn't, I didn't. It was bad, y'all. Like it was bad, but I got through it and telling her like I got somebody pregnant and like, but even telling her that I still lied about it a little bit. I was like, there's a possibility that there's this girl that's pregnant. There's a possibility that it's mine. Like even on some cowardly shit like that, that's still not even owning up to what I did. I know I had sex with this girl like multiple times. I know I had sex with her, right? And even though, like, even me and her backstory is kind of crazy, but me and my son's mom, our backstory is kind of crazy. But I didn't own up to what I did then. Like, it took my ex-wife to like drag the shit out of me for me in order to just be like, okay, like I did it, like it really is mine or whatnot. And you would have thought as a 28-year-old, I'd have been like, okay, not okay per se, but I'd have been like more confident, I guess, in telling, this woman that made my house into a home or made our house into a home, and that has been down for me for at least at that time for like 4 or 5 years type of time. But that was like really, really hard to really own up to. And it took me a while to really forgive myself for, what I felt to be, what I thought to be a great situation. Because we were very, very young. We were 24 when we got married. And we were 21 when we got together. 2021 when we actually got together. But telling someone the truth like that, when you lie to them, cheat on them, whatever the case is, like that is not hard that is not easy to do, to tell them the truth, because you don't want to hurt people's feelings. At least I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings, and I did though. And now I sit here as a 37-year-old man, living in my truth, living in my past, and living in the present day of that was then, this is now. How do we move forward? How do we push the needle to become better? And that's the only way to do now, is to move the needle forward. And if you are, any type of fan of vinyl records, vinyl players or whatnot, that's the only way to play a record is the needle has to go forward to the very end of the album. And that's how we continue to do that, by being honest with ourselves, being accountable, taking ownership of what we did, finding growth in all of those things, uh, being okay with those actions, acknowledging, being aware of what you're doing, apologizing, being remorseful. And I promise you, shit will be okay. Things will be alright. You ain't gotta take it from me. You don't have to take it from me. I'm just an average black dude sitting here talking to hopefully millions at some point. But we gotta be better. I gotta be better. Like I said before, I got three young kids, 3 young boys, 3 young kings, princes. You know what I mean? That I help raise each and every day. I'm not saying I'm the greatest at this parenting thing, especially from the distance. But I do the best I can. I do the best that I know how, and I think that's all they and maybe even their moms can really ask for. That I do the best that I can from a distance. I don't think that my sons dislike me or anything like that because of distance, but acknowledging the fact that like I'm not that I'm not perfect or that I wasn't perfect. Being aware that I wasn't perfect, being okay that I wasn't perfect in my past, and not even just in the past, but acknowledging and being aware and being truthful with myself that I'm not going to be perfect going forward. Even on vinyl records, even the cleanest ones skip. Even the cleanest ones skip. So I just kind of wanted to take this time to really acknowledge that with you guys, that we have to be aware, we have to acknowledge ourselves, we have to know within us what time it is at this point for yourself. I mean, you might be my age, a little bit younger, and be like, nah, I'm gonna keep doing what the fuck I want to do. That's cool, keep doing that. It's no harm off my back. It's no we Gucci, you know what I'm saying? I'm good with you. But in order for you to really call yourself, I feel like a man, an adult, you have to stop the cap, stop lying to yourself. I had to stop lying to myself. I had to inform myself, like, bro, like it's okay. The worst they gonna say, the worst this person's gonna do is yell and go the fuck off. But as long as you're true to yourself, as long as I'm true to myself, it's okay. I did my part. And that's the most they can ask from me. Well, at least you was honest. And at least you told me. But now, with that, with you knowing what you did, acknowledging what you did, and accepting what you did, and them doing the same thing, what's going to change from that point on into the future for yourself to know and for them to know that you learned your lesson? That you know right from wrong at that point. How are you going to prove that? How are you going to show that? I learned a very dope quote a very long time ago, and it goes, "Your actions to speak so loud I could barely hear what you're saying." And I've never forgotten that quote. And don't get me wrong, like I try my best to live by that quote, but this growth thing ain't always easy. It ain't always it's not always pristine. Okay? It's not always pristine. But Your actions should speak so loud someone can barely hear what you're saying. And if you're not giving them that, you're silent as fuck. So let's not be silent no more. Let them actions speak volumes, like volumes, that you doing all of this don't even fucking matter no more. It helps. It definitely helps. It boosts your actions. You doing this, but them actions are gonna speak a lot louder because people, you can see it. I can believe what you're doing. And it doesn't have to be about like, them being on top of you and, them watching every move or something like that. Because for a while, that's what it felt like it had to be for me. It felt like I needed that person to be on my ass, like a back pocket. I needed them to be on my ass in order for me just to do right by them. Like I feel like I needed that. Like I needed to be watched like a child. And crazy enough, I was still doing the same shit, even while they was low-key watching me in their face. But maybe to some of them, it was never about what I was doing in front of their face. It was about what I was doing behind their back. And that's where the worry came in at. Because I was all glitz and glamour in front of their face. But when it came down to being, all right, I'll see you later. I'm about to go hang out with my homies or family or whatever. Shit, it was boom. I was on the texting, you know what I'm saying? I was flirting and doing all types of dumb shit. And then the light bulb just kicked in one day like, nah, G, you're an idiot. You're dumb. Stop. Why are you doing this? Leave it alone. The light bulb don't always kick on for everybody at the same time, especially us men. And again, it's not just men. It's not just me. Women cheat too. Women lie. And people, as Jay-Z said, or maybe Wayne Jay-Z, I don't even think it was. But, men lie, women lie, money don't. Now, this ain't got nothing to do with no money because, y'all know I ain't got no money. But people lie. People deceive. People cheat. People are idiots. They are. Are there good people out there? Absolutely. Do I think I'm a good person? Yes. Have I been a very bad person to many women? Maybe to some of my friends. Maybe I have been a bad person. But it doesn't necessarily stop me from being a better person. It doesn't stop you from being a better person. And that's all I really want. I want us to be just better people as a whole. I'm not out here trying to be Martin Luther King and nothing like that. You know what I mean? But, me doing my small part out here and, giving a word of advice from somebody that looks like you, been through certain circumstances. Maybe I'm here to help a little bit. Who knows? Because out of that situation with my first son, I didn't think I would ever come out of there. Ever. I did not think I would ever come out of that situation. And at some point down this journey, you know what I mean? Down this journey, we'll definitely dive into that a lot more. But I just wanted to get on here with you guys today and let you guys know, like, whatever you're going through, whatever it is, just make sure you're holding yourself accountable. Be accountable. Like, you show up late for work. Hey, I woke up late. Don't get no lame ass excuse like, oh, my car died and the alien came and got me. I overslept. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. It won't happen again. But when you say it won't happen again, make sure it doesn't happen again, though. So, whatever it is, man, whatever it is, I promise you, the worst is going to happen is someone's going to slap the shit out of you. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But the worst something's going to happen is you're going to hear that person's mouth, right? So now at that point, how do you correct that deficiency or that inefficiency for whatever you did wrong? So let's practice that each and every day. Hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable. Hold your friends accountable. Hold your spouses accountable. Hold your significant others accountable. Hold your kids accountable. Hold the dog accountable. Whoever you need to hold accountable to make sure they are doing right by themselves, and you make sure you hold yourself accountable because you're doing right by yourself and to other people. Because for some of y'all, it may be just you. You know, you may not have a spouse, may not have a significant other and kids, but you do have friends. More likely, got friends. So make sure you're just trying to be a better person, not just for other people, but for yourself. And I'll leave y'all with this. Most of y'all may not know, but during COVID, or like right now, not during COVID, but like right after Kobe Bryant's passing, right after Kobe Bryant's passing, Nike did there's no plug for Nike. I don't get paid for Nike, you know what I'm saying? But Nike, if you watching, you want to throw your boy a little, you know what I mean? I'm with it. But they did a video for Kobe, and it was called in the campaign it's called Be Better. So, go on YouTube, after this video and watch, just look up Nike Kobe Bryant Be Better. And that's my message to y'all, man. When you see that video, like, watch it, like, thoroughly watch it. And that's my entire message to y'all. Just be better. Not just for yourself, not for your friends, not just for your friends, not just for your family, not just for your kids, but just being a better human being as a whole. So, thank you. I appreciate y'all time. Like, share, and subscribe to the page. I appreciate the love. And until next time, peace.